Thank you so much.
As we transition to our last module, as I mentioned earlier, the program helps students develop career skills, such as these West Virginia Ready graduate skills you see listed on your screen now. And if you don't mind, audience, I would like you to take a look at this list of career skills and type in the chat box the skill or characteristic that has impacted you the most throughout your career. And while you're sharing your answers, I just also want to share a personal example. For me, the skill that has carried me throughout the most from my college to my professional career is perseverance and grit. That's something that has always kind of made sure that I'm right where I need to be. All right, great. So at this time, I would like to introduce our third and final panel of the day, our educator panel. And this panel will be moderated by Ms. Kim Saladay. She is the Career and Work Skills Coordinator for Kanawha County Schools. And Kim was just instrumental in making sure this program was a success throughout the semester in Kanawha County and just really the program as a whole. Kim?
Thank you, Olivia.
And I would also like to welcome our educator panel to unmute themselves and go ahead and turn on your cameras.
I'd like to start off by asking our panelists to introduce themselves, and I'll start with Sean.
Hi, my name is Sean Hawkins, and I am the principal at Independence High School in Raleigh County.
Denise.
Hi, I'm Denise Brindley Thomas, and I am the Career and Work Skills teacher here at Capitol High School.
And Michael.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Huffman. I'm the Career and Work Skills Training Coordinator for Herbert Hoover High School.
Thank you. Many times when we think of internships opportunities, they are usually once students get to college. Talk about why you think it's critical for high school students to have internship experiences. I'll start with you, Denise.
Well, I think it's a very vital experience because it gives the student hands-on experience in a company. And so a lot of students, they think they want to become a doctor, and then they go and shadow an actual doctor, and then they see how demanding it is. I know this happened with my oldest son. Travis shadowed and worked with some doctors before he went to college and found out that being a doctor was extremely time-consuming, demanding, and he wasn't sure if he would be able to have a family and put as much time as he needed to into having a family and being a doctor. So he opted to go to into the physician assistant field, which was better for him. And so it made it an easier transition for him because he knew at that point it saved him time. And so the internships and shadowing and anything that we can do to give students a hands-on situation is very, very, very good for them.
Thank you. Sean?
I think the internship opportunity at the high school level is extremely important. We are tasked with getting students to the point of recognizing what career field they think they want to go into. And as they enter college, we see lots of kids changing directions, which learning experiences will allow them to do that. However, I think we need to provide them some baseline opportunities to see not only the experience versus the presentation. We teach kids about careers, but actually getting that opportunity to interact with companies and people who do various jobs in those companies, give them a much broader perspective so that they can take their skill sets and their interests and really tailor their career path and maybe their education path to what's important for them. You know, in this particular opportunity, we're talking about 13 amazing companies who shared this with our students, whereas you know, in Southern West Virginia, if our students even had an entry-level job at a company, they're not going to learn the hands-on skills and the wide focus that they got with this particular opportunity. So absolutely, learning about West Virginia opportunities is critical for our students so that we can keep them here.
Thank you. And last, Michael, we'll hear from you.
Thank you. I feel it's important for students to have opportunity to experience internships in high school because it provides them with the opportunity to learn about many exciting careers that are available here in our state. This internship is designed for students who may pursue employment after high school or may attend college. This internship gives students the opportunities to speak with employers and are given the opportunity to ask questions to gain knowledge about potential career opportunities. You know, it's one thing to sit in front of a computer and look at a website and apply for a job at a company that you have little or no knowledge of. This gives you a little bit of background of companies that may be useful in the future that you want to apply for, and you'll remember that and it will help you out. This internship has increased student knowledge of companies that have high-paying jobs right here in West Virginia. As was mentioned earlier, from 2010 to 2020, West Virginia has lost 65,000 residents. West Virginia, Illinois, and Mississippi are the only three states with an estimated population loss. And West Virginia's population has declined by 3.2% compared to Mississippi, which is 0.2, and Illinois, which is 0.1. We need to change this trend and keep our young people here in our great state and provide outstanding career opportunities for our students. I was in high school many years ago and I did not have opportunities like this. I feel that this could aid students in making a career choice or at least give them some options if they are currently undecided on their future career. So it was really refreshing to hear Toyota, how they're willing to invest in our state. We know AEP is, everybody's aware of our population decline. So even Amanda was talking about, investing in her local community.
Thank you. Those were great answers. John, we're going to move to you. All of you were part of the program, meaning we started from scratch. The very first step was ensuring the course was built around rigorous standards. John, you were very instrumental in the development of standards for Raleigh County. Could you share with the audience 1 to 2 of the standards and how you think the course did in meeting those standards?
Absolutely. As an administrator bringing a new program into the school, we want to make sure that we're offering something for students that's going to take them beyond the basic curriculum and really have a positive impact on them. So as we built the curriculum, we went and looked at what was already there. Our career technical education teachers in the business department were really the ones who wanted to experiment with this opportunity, and they were going to be my teachers for that. And so we looked first at the standards developed by the West Virginia Department of Education for the 0520 business internship, which allows for the elective portion of their 4 credits to be a completer. But we wanted to expand on that simply because it's not just a business internship. It was a very hands-on and collaborative. It wasn't where you typically as a student might go and serve, a certain number of hours per semester. So we looked at 2 standards beyond that were part of the student success standards for grades 9 through 12. The first one that we looked at was really development of learning skills for students. Specifically, this really looked at refining students' executive function or organizational skills for their own benefit. Also, learning to identify their learning skills to maximize learning in a variety of environments. It went above and beyond our expectations as far as this virtual internship opportunity with that standard. The second standard is a little different, but it was under the career exploration and planning. And its goal was really to use a variety of resources to explore career options in relation to a student's personal ability, their interest, and the job market. And I think these 13 companies really embody what West Virginia has to offer, from the small companies to the larger corporations. And all of the different levels within those, and giving students that opportunity to determine transferable skills. So if they started out as an interest in one company, they could potentially grow and stay with that company their entire career, just not in the same job. So I think beyond the expectation in meeting that, a typical internship would give you one perspective. These students had a wealth of knowledge at their fingertips.
Thank you. Due to COVID, we had to use a learning management system to upload the Business Job Shadow virtual videos that were recorded. This enabled schools across West Virginia that were on different schedules to participate. Denise, we know Capitol High School had an unusual schedule, so could you describe what would happen with job shadow training modules each Monday and how you use the learning management system?
Yes, at Capitol High School this year, we had a different schedule. It was called an A-B schedule. And on A days, we would meet our 2, 4, and 6 classes. I take that back. It was 3 and 5 and 7 classes. And then on B days, we would meet with our 2nd and 4th and 6th period classes. And we would do that and rotate. And it was a little bit difficult for us to do and manage at times. And the beauty of this program was the fact that it was very workable with the days that my students were available live. They got the live experience and they were able to participate live. And then on the days where they were not live that day, the sessions were recorded, and then my students would watch the recordings and we would analyze everything and break it down. And it gave us a very different way to look at the sessions. And so it was the best of both worlds. I feel like it was an accidental great thing for us because it gave us a different aspect of looking at it from a recording standpoint, because I feel like with the recordings, this would be a great program also for every type of student, like even our special education students. They would be able to sit down and they could slow the recording down and break it down. And also with it not being live for them, some of them are inhibited by being live, and that scares them. So I think that way being recorded would give other students a great opportunity to participate in something like this also. And that would make them become more comfortable and then maybe move into the live sessions. So I thought it was just a great mix of both.
Thank you. We've heard from students about the Capstone Project. All of them were very technical, detailed projects. Michael, tell us about your perspective as a teacher. What surprised you about the Capstone Project, the students, and the business partners?
All right. First, I'll talk about our Capstone Project. As it was mentioned earlier, we were paired with AEP. The students were given the task of providing power from the main road to an existing structure. This project required a lot of teamwork and critical thinking skills. The students had to calculate load size of transformers, flicker, voltage drop, and number of poles to use and where to place them. They had to decide how far apart to place their poles, and they wanted to be cost efficient. They understood that, not only does AEP have to pay more money if you use more poles than necessary, or if you size the transformer wrong, but that also affects consumers, because we have to pay the power bill. So they were able to understand the importance factors. As far as like what surprised me of the students, I was just blown away because, we had to do a lot of those calculations. I was on YouTube, watching calculations. My buddy is an electrician. I was asking him questions. I was really worried that the students, were going to struggle, but they absolutely did not. They did an amazing job. Every student was given a task to complete, and each one worked hard on their part of the capstone. We met occasionally during our clubs to complete the majority of our capstone. Each student was willing to work when given a task and never complained or argued when they were given a task. We had one student, when we were discussing power poles, ask AEP about power poles and transformers for the new Herbert Hoover High School. It was a really great question that sparked interest from each of my students. As a result, AEP shared their drawings, diagrams, and calculations and how they designed power from the main road to the new Herbert Hoover High School. This presentation was part of a larger presentation that took place at our school, where the president and CEO of AEP, along with their communications director and many other guests, came to our school and presented the Education Alliance with a check in the amount of $250,000 to provide internship opportunities to the entire state of West Virginia. I have a lot of respect for AEP's willingness to invest in our students in West Virginia, and so thankful that they are doing their part to help this program reach more of the state. As far as the other business partners, each business partner did an amazing job of providing an overview of their business. They discussed education requirements, job opportunities, community involvement, and how they care and value their employees. We heard a lot about culture and climate of the businesses. CAMC provides their employees with assistance to quit smoking, mental health and counseling assistance. Other businesses talked about how they wanted their employees to go home each day in better shape than when they came to work that day. During our mentor call with AEP, as you've heard earlier, we began each meeting with a safety and culture contact. It would be just be like wearing your seatbelt. If you're on a ladder, face the ladder as you walk down the ladder. So, this was everyday stuff that these students, need to be aware of as far as safety. One of the big things they talked about, AEP, is if you're driving one of their company vehicles, you have to walk around the entire vehicle before you move that vehicle so that you can see poles behind you that may not be high enough for you to see in the rearview mirror. And, we've heard the stories where, some children have been backed over, if they're standing right behind the vehicle or if a ball goes underneath it and they're crawling under the vehicle. So, those are very important safety tips, that we learn each week. And AEP has employees that have worked there, 30 to 40 years. And that's kind of uncommon to work at one place. I myself, I love my job. I love teaching, but I'm not sure I want to do it 40 plus years. So, they have employees that have been there that long. And that just tells me that that's a great place to work.
Thank you. We have other educators, administrators on the EdTalk today who might be thinking about signing up as a pilot next year. What advice would you have for them? Denise?
Well, I'd give the advice that it is a wonderful thing for them to get involved with because it is community service and it is good press for them. It looks good on their company. It's a great recruiting tool. You can get some of the best and brightest students and sometimes the hardest workers that you see that they can work well with you in this type of environment. And so it's students that you might want to recruit to be your employee one day. Public relations, tourism, there were a lot of companies that we were introduced to that I had no idea they were even in West Virginia. And so afterwards we would talk about that and we would say, oh, did you even realize that this company was here? And some of them said they would like to go to these places this summer and see them. And so it's a great opportunity for all these companies to make everyone aware that they're here. And so it just adds more money. And it's just all about networking and learning about each other. And I highly recommend it.
Thank you. Michael?
I was in high school about 22 years ago. We didn't have any career awareness activities. We didn't take any surveys. We didn't do any questionnaires. So, I didn't go to a technical or trade school when I was in high school because that wasn't, quote, the cool thing to do. So I left high school with no plans. And I remember my mom, because I was still living at home, and it was about July, and she put a note on my door that said if I didn't get a 40-hour week job or I didn't go to college, I was going to start paying rent and insurance, car insurance. So I went and signed up for college. Still had no idea what I wanted to do, but I'm going to college because I'm not paying rent and I'm not paying for car insurance. So even the first year of college, I took basic classes because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So now many high schools do a much better job. They'll do adulting days. They'll do career fairs. But this internship went above and beyond anything I've ever seen in my 16 years of teaching in Kanawha County. The students had the opportunity to see and hear from many businesses across the state, 3 or 4 that I've never heard of myself. There was a lot of helpful information from these businesses that the students can find valuable as far as like credit score. If your credit score is low, you're going to pay an higher interest rate on cars and homes. So that was very helpful. The students who have completed this internship now can add it to their resume. As Lila was speaking earlier, it's a great resume booster. And they're familiar with, river riders, and, they may want to take a family vacation, or maybe somebody's in DC and they want to know something fun to do, over in Eastern Panhandle, West Virginia. Well, guess what? I saw a presentation on river riders. You might want to go check that out. There's so many different jobs at a law firm, than just practicing law. So as a result of this internship, the interns understand that many companies strive to provide the highest quality product or service at the most efficient price, so that they don't have to pass that on to consumers. So I would strongly recommend signing on as a pilot next year and making this internship available to your students.
Thank you. And Sean?
I think that if you are a school looking at becoming a part of the program, something that I would encourage early is to work with the administrator or the counselor to get that on the schedule, and then gain support there so you have a time and a place for your students to participate. But then beyond that, be flexible. Learn about your students who are interested. Be willing to take those who may not be who you thought would be interested in your class. And I think really recruit a diverse group of students, because that's what they're going to experience in the workplace. They're not all going to be honor students. They're not always going to be college bound students. So the opportunity to work with diverse students, to create collaborative groups, to work through these capstone projects, I think grows your students, grows your school, and gives your teachers a great opportunity to grow their own skills, and kind of develop that as a school protocol, so that we aren't cookie cutter in what we're doing for our kids, but really making education count and an individual experience.
Thank you. Now I think we have a couple of questions for the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sean, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with you. One of the questions is, you mentioned that you would love to recruit a diverse range or a diverse, group of students for this course. Why would it be important to not just recruit maybe the valedictorian and some of the other students who are at the top of the class? Why is it important to kind of recruit, that diverse range of students that you talked about?
I think the best reason for that is because we want this internship experience to mirror what they would experience if they worked at Toyota, or if they worked at AEP or West Virginia American Water. Not every one of those companies went to college or was a valedictorian, and you have to be able to relate to lots of different people from different backgrounds and different levels of education. But really, when you look at this capstone project, yes, some of the calculations or whatever some of our honor students would be great for, but the practical hands-on components sometimes is from that kid who comes from a middle class working family who's done stuff with their hands all their lives. So I really think that you build and enrich the program when you have that diverse groups, just like all these wonderful businesses in West Virginia have done.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I think our next question, and we will direct this at Denise if you don't mind, but others feel free to chime in if you also have a great answer for this. What strategy would teachers and administrators advise on how we can work together to make CTE or other trade schools or other certificate programs kind of that first class option for students, or something that they're really excited to do, how we kind of made that college experience for? What strategies would you advise on that?
I would say having a good long conversation with your counselor. Just start with your counselor and talk about the things that interest you, because we all know that we spend most of our lives at work. And if you have to go into work and dread what you do, it's not going to be a happy life. You have to enjoy what you do. And so I think the counselors they get that one-on-one talk with a student, find out what makes them tick, find out things that they like to do, and then it build on that, because there are a lot of career in like work skills opportunities. There are students that work really well with their hands and they like to do things other than book work. And that is a great way to make a living. And I think a lot of students are not aware of all the opportunities in our career centers. And also we have simulated workplace opportunities in our business departments. And a lot of students are not aware of all this. So have a long conversation with a counselor. The counselors know all the programs, and kind of dig into what will make that student happy, because it's all about being happy.
Yeah, that's a wonderful point. Thank you, Denise.
If I could piggyback on that,
Absolutely.
I think what Denise was saying is really we want to encourage students to be self-advocates and really ask those questions early, because a lot of times if you're looking at a CTE program, you have to make those choices and some of those decisions your 9th and 10th grade year to be able to meet the credit requirements for graduation as well as the schedule requirements of the CTE program. So make sure that you're teaching students self-advocacy. Students, I would encourage you to talk to your parents, because we have a lot of times where students and parents are not on the same page. And students feel like they have to choose between a career technical path or a college bound path. But if you work early enough, you can build flexible schedules so that students can become a career technical completer in whatever field that they desire, but also be prepared to go into college and have that fourth science, so that that can just be a stepping stone to further your career path.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. And I think our final question of the day, and Michael, I'm going to direct this at you from a teacher standpoint, and then Sean, if you don't mind, I'm going to pick on you and direct it at you from an administrator standpoint. Was there anything that you learned or that really surprised you the most during this internship that maybe going into it when we were having some of our planning committee meetings, you either weren't prepared for or just, pleasantly surprised you about this program? Michael, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with you.
I really didn't know what to expect, at the beginning. I'm very happy and thankful that for the most part, the technology worked and we were able to every Monday and Wednesday, get through the presentations. That was very, very successful. And I was just blown away at how, these companies put time into it, because you can tell when someone puts time and hard work into a presentation and when someone's prepared. And every single one of these businesses was very prepared and did an excellent job with their presentation. And I was thankful and happy for that, because, if they don't do their part, then, it's not going to be successful, because kids are going to be turned off. So everybody has a part in it, but, they play a big part in it. And I'm just thankful that each one of them took the time and hard work and dedication and made it successful, because they did.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I just want to echo that again. I know we thanked all 13 of our businesses earlier, but truly every single one of them really went above and beyond to make sure that their module or their capstone project was spectacular and that the student interns really got the most out of their experience. Yeah, wonderful. Sean, what about you?
I think what surprised me the most was the flexibility that the program allowed, not only in whether students participated in the live training sessions with each of the 13 companies, or if they happen to have a different schedule or they were quarantined or whatever it might be because of COVID. That they still have the opportunity to engage in that learning opportunity. And then the phenomenal job that I know my teacher, Miss Moore at Independence High School, did to extend that learning beyond the basic material that was presented from the companies and really try to tie that into the everyday classroom activities that they did. Then to take each of those foundational pieces and find the flexibility to tie it all together, not only for the one company, but for the Capstone Project. And just hearing my students report out on what they felt that they were able to do and how much they grew and how much their perspective had changed. They thought that, initially it was just going to be a lot of the presentations, but the interaction absolutely made the program for my students, and I think is the key component that you have to work with.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you, Sean. And that is such a great point, mentioning the flexibility that, doing it virtually really allows the students, and also just the flexibility with the schools and the businesses for, all of the kind of pauses we had due to COVID or weather. I mean, I think that was really special and important this semester. And we've all learned that over the last year, being flexible. And Michael, I think maybe you might have one more comment.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing. I thought that the West Virginia Ready skills that you guys did were very important too. I enjoyed each one of those, and that was a big component of it. I forgot to mention that. And I can't remember them all, but they were very good. They were very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we love that West Virginia Ready graduate profile, and we're so thrilled that all of our businesses really implemented that and facilitated such wonderful modules for the students. And I truly learned a lot as well throughout this semester. Wonderful. Well, I think that will round us out with all of our questions. And I just want to thank all of our panelists so much for participating, not only throughout this panel, but also during the entire semester. And I just want to congratulate you all on a job well done, and really thank you all for your hard work. And so this will conclude our virtual ed talk this year. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And we would like to thank our sponsors once more for making this possible. Again, Bowles Rice, Jackson Kelly PLLC, and Toyota Motor Manufacturing, West Virginia. If you enjoyed this ed talk today, please consider making a contribution to help us expand programs like our West Virginia Ready internships. You can visit educationalliance.org/give to donate today. And finally, we have 2 opportunities for you to get involved with our West Virginia Ready Internships program. I noticed we had a couple of comments in the chat asking how to get involved, and here's your answer. So the first opportunity we have is our summer internships program. We will be doing this internship program both 100% virtual and in a hybrid model, with part of it being virtual, part of it being in person. For the virtual internships, you can be anywhere in West Virginia and participate in this program. So if you are a rising junior or senior in high school, or if you know of a student who might be interested, please either visit our website or share this website with them. It's educationalliance.org/WVReadyInternships. They can view the job descriptions and apply online. The deadline for applications for the summer internships program is June 5th. And finally, our fall West Virginia Ready Internships course pilot program. We are kind of accepting people who are interested in that at this point. So if you are a teacher, administrator, or a business leader interested in participating in the fall internship course, we would love to partner with you. And to show us your interest in that, you can email me at olivia@educationalliance.org, and I'd be happy to connect with you and talk to you a little bit more about this opportunity. So at this time, this will conclude our virtual ed talk on how COVID shaped career readiness. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much.